Welcome to Happy's Kitchen. Today we're going to make a kimchi jjigae or kimchi stew. Again, it's part of our kimchi series since, as you all know, I made 8 pounds of kimchi just 2 weeks ago. So we're going to be making a lot of kimchi dishes. So the star of our show, of course, is our homemade kimchi. You can also substitute for store-bought. This is about a cup and a half of kimchi. Since my kimchi is already chopped when I made it, I don't need to do anything else to it. I also have here a tablespoon and a half of hot Korean peppers, as well as 2 tablespoons of hot Korean soybean paste. And so I also have a medium onion, and then 4 cups of large shiitake mushrooms that's going to go into our stew. I also have here about a pound of pork belly. So this has already been deboned, deskinned, and then sliced. I have it marinating in a tablespoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon of cooking wine. But if you don't like pork, you can also use beef. You can also make a vegetarian version and not add any meat, and you can maybe crack an egg in it. You can also put in some shrimp instead of pork belly, though for the shrimp you want to put it into the stew right before it comes out. So this is like a super casual, easy one-pot dinner. Feel free to substitute in your favorite vegetables, your favorite protein, and make it really your own. And then the other thing I really like to add to my stew is tofu. So this is soft tofu that I've actually had frozen overnight. So when I cut it open, you'll see that as part of the freezing process, the water molecules expand, and your soft tofu will look a lot spongier, which is great for putting in soups because it also got a lot of that great flavor. So let's just prep our onion. We're going to cut into thin slices. So half, and then just slice thinly. We're also going to thinly slice our shiitake mushroom caps. So the mushroom I'm using today, the stalk is super soft, so you can just chop it right in. If your stalk is a little bit harder, you should remove that for the soup. Here I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil just on medium heating. To it I'm going to add our sliced onions. We're going to cook for about 2 minutes or until the onions soften. After the onion softens, still on medium heat, I'm going to add in our pork belly and just let it cook over medium heat. Let the fat render a little bit and let the flavors meld. While our pork and onions are cooking, we're going to cut the tofu. So I'm going to slice a little bit and just dump the excess water out. So you can see, slicing into this tofu, there are a lot of ice crystals as well as air pockets here because this is tofu that has been frozen. And I love putting this type of tofu in stew because of the sponginess of it and how much flavor it absorbs. So to prepare this, you just want to get soft tofu and then pop it in the freezer the night before you want to make it. During the day, pop it back in the fridge so that it can unfreeze a little so that you can cut into it, and then it's ready to use. After 5 minutes, our pork belly has a little bit of color on it. I'm going to add now our Korean hot pepper soybean paste, as well as our Korean red pepper flakes. I'm going to give that a good stir. Once we mix that together, we can add our shiitake mushrooms. So notice I'm not really adding salt here because our kimchi as well as our pork belly and all the paste that we're using are all going to have sodium. So you should definitely reduce the amount of salt that you add depending on your taste. We're going to cook this until the shiitake mushrooms become soft. Now we're ready to incorporate our kimchi. Now turning the stove to high, we're going to add in our liquid. So I'm actually using hot water here, about 8 cups, and this makes about 4 servings. You can also use chicken broth or vegetable broth, but I find that because there's so much flavor already in the paste here, there's really no need to use broth. Once our stew comes to a boil, we can turn it to simmer, put on a lid, and let it simmer for 15 minutes. So now our kimchi stew has been simmering for 15 minutes. We're ready to add our frozen tofu. So because the tofu is half frozen, it's going to cool the soup down immediately. So let's turn the stove back up to high, get it to a boil, and then back to simmer 5 more minutes. Now our kimchi stew has been simmering away for a total of 20 minutes, and it's ready. So here's our kimchi stew. It's a super simple one-pot meal that you can make on the weekday, and it's perfect for the fall or the winter weather. If you pair it with a bowl of white rice, then you have a complete meal. So I hope you have the chance to try this recipe at home. Comment below and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching, and happy cooking!